Jiu-Jitsu as a whole is one big grip fight, and saying grip fighting is important is a massive understatement. Submissions are just different ways of gripping your opponent, causing them to tap out. Takedowns are different ways of gripping the lower body or upper body, forcing your opponent to the ground. Passes are the same, different ways of gripping the upper or lower body to stop their legs from getting in the way as you progress. If you don't understand the grip fight, you're going to have a hard time in Jiu-Jitsu. So let's change that. We'll be looking at grip fighting concepts and using case studies to demonstrate the point, to get you dominating on the mats by improving your grip fighting. So let's get started. The importance of grips. On the left, against the big guy, I hit a fake guard pull ankle pick. On the right, I try to hit the same move, but I fail. Why? Because on the left, he had no grips to keep me away. On the right, he had a grip on my lapel, which he used to frame with his arm to keep me away so I couldn't reach him. The difference in outcome was dictated by the difference in grips. Here on the left, the passer tries to get an underhook on me, but I win the grip fight by taking an underhook on him, and I take top position as a result. The same is true here when I'm on top. The guard player is trying to get an underhook on me, but I get one on him, and I pass his guard as a result. The difference in outcome is again based on the difference in grips. Every grip needs a purpose. Here, what is the purpose of this grip? Is it to pin me down? Is it to try to submit me? Is it to show the world my nipples? Well, maybe, but I'm not sure. It looks like he's trying to use it to pull me towards him. In this specific scenario, I can't think of a reason that it would be useful, especially when he could have at least attempted to use that arm to gain head control. Here, what's the purpose of these grips on my sleeve? Are they controlling my mobility? They're not, as I can move freely, and I use my mobility to enter a better passing position. Here my opponent is attempting to defend my rear naked choke. The purpose of these grips that he has is to relieve pressure on his neck, but is there a higher purpose? A more important purpose that he could be addressing instead? Well, if he were to fight my hands themselves, he could prevent them from locking up, and fight to get my arm out from underneath his neck entirely. You only need to break grips that stop you from doing what you want to do. Not all grips are created equal for the specific scenario you're faced with. For example, here in these clips, I didn't have to break their collar grips to clear their legs with the Toriano pass. I was still able to move my hips out of the way and take their feet off me, which are grips. I didn't waste time trying to break the grips of their hands first, but here I felt I needed to break the grip on my lapel first. It's situational. Here the grip on my wrist isn't stopping me from passing, so there's no point in addressing it. Another good example is here. The purpose of the grips that he has on me are to break my posture. I would need to break his grips if I wanted to posture up, but instead I decided to pass with a low posture. Although his grips were controlling me in one direction, preventing me from going up, they were also helping me go down, so no point in breaking them. Give your opponent a reason to let go. If your opponent is holding on to you in a way that you don't want them to, they're not just going to let go because you asked them nicely. You need to give them a reason. Often a good reason is not wanting to fall over, so they post to prevent that. You see, the wider the base that you have, the less you are able to grip your opponent. It's a trade-off. Knowing this, you can intentionally force people to post, so they let go of you, and then you can either improve position or hit submissions. Here's another example. It's not like I have a bunch of Darce escapes memorized. I just fight his grips by forcing him to post. My day can get pretty hectic with training, teaching, filming videos, and managing my gym, which is why I take advantage of things like mobile coffee ordering, grocery pickup, meal prepping to help me through the week. Anything that can save me time and maximize the time I do have is super valuable to me, especially when it comes to my business. And a big part of business is mailing items such as legal documents, mailing checks, marketing materials, and other similar documents, which can take a lot of time. So if you're one of those people, then Stamps.com is the time saver that you need. With it, you can access the USPS and UPS mailing services you need to run your business right from your computer or phone anytime, day or night, without wasting your time in traffic or waiting in lines. Stamps.com is basically your 24/7 post office. You can take care of your mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go. You can even see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers. Cost of postage just increased in July, but Stamps.com offers crazy discounts. You can get rates you can't find anywhere else, like up to 89% off USPS and UPS. Free up more time and more important business with Stamps.com. Sign up at Stamps.com/Jordan for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com/Jordan. Prevent grips from connecting to each other. When grips connect to each other, they become very powerful. Think body locks, kimuras, triangles, darces, etc. These grips are very hard to break, and priority should be in preventing them in the first place. For example, here in these clips, we both have control of each other's wrists, but on the left, I secure a kimura grip, and on the right, I prevent him from securing a kimura grip on me. I used my head position to prevent him from lifting his shoulders off the mat to reach. Here's another example. On the left, I'm actively fighting his grips from connecting from within my turtle, but on the right, he leaves all this space and I can easily secure a seatbelt grip. One last example. Here, I prevent my opponent's grips from connecting by using my foot to keep them away from each other and successfully hit the armbar. But here, my opponent connects his hands, which I can normally deal with just fine against someone of similar size, but I couldn't break the grips of this big guy, and I lose position. If I had kept his grips from connecting in the first place, I would have had a much easier time. Use the right grip at the right time. I know this is a lot easier said than done, especially if you're a beginner, but understand what you're looking to do is control your opponent's mobility, so you need to take grips that do that. For example, watch out here, my opponent attempts a pretty sweet flying armbar, but he lands without grips that stop me from moving to my left, so I pass to my left. Here I pull guard in a very lazy way and almost get my guard passed. What keeps me safe is establishing a lasso grip to control his mobility. The situations were identical, but the difference in outcome was again decided by the difference in grips, as I improved my grip situation much faster, gaining control of his mobility before he could take advantage of the opportunity. Another example is here. I enter my opponent's guard by stepping between his legs, and his inside foot doesn't grip onto me. It's not controlling my mobility at all. But here my opponent also steps between my legs to pass, and immediately I grip with the instep of my foot and secure a reverse De La Riva guard. You see, all guards are just different ways of gripping with your feet. On the right, I took grips that controlled my opponent's mobility. Meanwhile, on the left, he did not. Never let someone grab your head. I've said this 1,000 times before on the channel, and I'll say it 1,000 times more. If your opponent can grab your head, they can pin your shoulders to the mat. This is not good. It takes away your mobility and optimizes their control over you. It's how you get smashed. A useful method to prevent head control is using your T-Rex arms, which is keeping your elbows close to prevent underhooks, and using your forearms and hands to keep your opponent's grips away from your head. You will immediately improve if you prioritize never letting someone grab your head. And this isn't just for the crossface, but under your chin for guillotines or the front headlock as well. People all the time take underhooks without regard for what their opponent's other arm can do. When you take an underhook and keep control of their other arm, you take away the threat of them snatching up your neck/head. Closing off or sealing off space by bringing your head to your shoulder is another way of grip fighting their attempt. No matter what method you employ, keep your opponent away from your head, as where the head goes, the body must follow. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I said grips like 1,000 times. Make sure to pick up my Jiu-Jitsu theory course if you want more concepts to improve your Jiu-Jitsu.